you guys really enjoyed my breakdown of the previous world record for Blade. So today I have a really interesting one for you. Just recently, they added character-based leaderboards, and I have never played Jeff in-game or in zombies. So today, we're going to watch the world record Jeff run of 21 minutes and 26 seconds by Applex and try to think through their buying decisions, what cards they really focus on, how they position on the map. And then on my Twitch stream this week, I'll be going for a top 500 Jeff score of my own using what we learned today. When I say I'm going in blind, I'm not kidding. I have not played Jeff. I have no idea what they're going to be going for on the initial reroll. I know on Blade, it was the 140% damage, right? So let's see what on this initial roll they go for on Jeff. I'm actually gonna slow down right here to see what they get first. So they're still scrolling, So far, they're just doing the single rerolls. They do get a moon power. Okay, they buy the moon power. A damage dealt. Do they buy that? They do buy the damage dealt. Okay, and then a joyful splash. Okay. So it looks like... Okay, so it looks like the joyful splash... what is that? It's a damage over time, right? Is the prio. Instead of the 140% that you go for on Blade, you're going for the damage over time. So they do get the moon power first, then they get this 35, and then they get this one, and this is what they went for rerolls on. But they were obviously comfortable enough to get both of these before, so these are potentially decent rerolls too. All right, let's see how much, we'll speed it back up and see. Okay, they're pushing rerolls pretty hard. At what point do they start? Okay, so they push rerolls all the way down to basically no money. They ended with 13. Damn, that is 30. Oh my God. 3,600% on the DOT. So it looks like it's a DOT build. They got 3 of the moon power and 9 of the 35% purple damage. It's a hell of a start, especially considering they didn't just start with only the DOT. They actually bought 3 different things that they random rolled. But to be fair, those are probably the 3 best cards for Jeff. So wow, the range on Jeff is absolutely insane. So my first thoughts, like right off the bat, it seems like with Blade, you're really prioritizing standing near doors and really just chopping them down as they come through. But with Jeff, because of his insane range, you really want to position yourself to where you can see all of the doors at the same time.
But the war is far from over.
Okay, so what did they buy that round? Sorry, I forgot that you had to click on this as they do it. Doesn't look like anything new here. Yeah, so they got some. Wow, they're getting lucky. They got 3 more of the high value. Wonder if they. If they got 3 more high value, wonder if they got if they did their. I'm guessing they did the reroll again. Not the reroll, but the random. I say reroll, but it's the 15 cost randomized. That is absolutely insane luck. 3 moon power, like 9 or 10 of the purple 35%, and on top of that, 16 of the DOT. His boss damage looks like it's going to be lacking. I'm interested to see how they build out the boss damage. Because it did, okay, more splash damage. Okay, so they got some splash damage, it looked like. Yeah, so they got 200% splash damage. It seems like the boss damage is kind of lacking. Like Blade would be just mowing down these big boys. So far the benefit of Jeff seems to be just this LOS thing. How you don't have to play, you don't really have to risk your life at all. I'm interested to see how he fares versus the grenaders and the bosses. But so far, seems like a really safe character to play. Damage seems kind of lacking at the beginning, even though the damage over time is really impressive. All right, let's see what they buy on this purchase. Okay. It doesn't really seem like they got. Oh, they got a splash projectile capacity. They got 1 of those. Once again, I haven't played Jeff before. I wanted to go into this completely blind and just really see like what's the prioritization when it comes to blessings. I will say the gameplay is not as interactive as Blade. Blade's fun because you're running and gunning, or I guess swinging, so to say. But with Jeff, You really are just you're sitting there sniping. That must have been a spectator bug. Okay. Okay, they're getting a lot of gold. A lot of gold. They bought a maximum health 100. We'll keep an eye on what their health is when they get to each of the bosses. Damage over time, splash damage, capacity at 3, splash damage, they've bought 4, and then one of the blue splash capacity. They're up to 18 of the DOT, which seems like the priority of the build. Okay. All right, so we are currently at 2,700 health going into the Namor. And then time-wise, it's around 4 minutes, which actually is really, really solid. That's on par for the Blade world records getting to Namor. Seems like Jeff might be potentially better for getting Namor out of the sky because you have such good range. Blade, especially in this first encounter with Namor, kind of struggles at reaching. And the benefit here is you actually don't run into the bug. So with Jeff, it's such a precise long distance primary that you avoid accidentally proccing the bug. Because the reason the bug was happening was because Blade, his primary fire had such a crazy attack range. I think they're just doing it. That's crazy. They're trolling around on the world record. That's funny. They're getting some crazy luck on these golds though. Yep. So I'm interested to see how the play style changes when it comes to the wave clear. The farther we get in. Wow. Good. Really good clear. Do they buy health? Okay, they are getting health. So they're up to 3,300 health. With Blade, normally I shot for about 8,500 minimum going into the boss, but damage reduction was huge. I do believe, though, with the rework / buffs that all the other characters got, they did give Jeff 15% damage reduction on one of his trees. Can't remember if it was the red or the blue tree. Once we get to the Wanda run, we'll take a look at what their entire build looks like. But they're getting a lot of golds. And on Jeff, it doesn't seem like you really have to prio health all that much. It's like people aren't really getting to you, right? What's the benefit of the bubble? Is that part of one of his trees? We'll read into the trees a little bit here once we get to the Wanda vibe. Yeah, with Jeff, this position seems like it's gonna... I wouldn't be surprised if this position works throughout the entire run. Because people... Oh my god, he's getting so many gold reds. Low-key, from seeing this so far, not only does Jeff contest Blade potentially is the best when it comes to like fast clears because his wave clear is insane. Jeff almost seems like the safest option just to beat Nightmare 4 in general. If you've never beaten it before, because Blade clears it fast, right? But there's a lot of room for error. Dying to explorers, dying to the grenaders, getting too close to stuff. With Jeff, he hasn't even had anyone touch him yet. The luck on the reds is absolutely insane. At the end of this buy round, so let's keep an eye on how fast they get through this buy. On Blade to be at a good pace, typically they were ending the buy phase around a minute to a minute 10 left. So this guy does have a much longer buy phase than the world records for Blade. So that kind of shows like the Jeff world record is out there for the taking. So far, very, very slow buys, at least comparison to some of the other records. Okay, so let's take a look here. So they are going into Wanda at 8 minutes. They have 4,000 health. And then let's take a look at cards. They have a lot in red right now. 28 on the damage over time. That's seems like the core of the build. 13 on the splash damage. Got a little bit of purple capacity, a little bit of purple damage, a little bit of blue capacity, blue damage, and 4 of the splash fire rate. And then I want to see on this one, Joyal Splash leaves a persistent pool on the ground, damaging areas. Okay, so that's the DOT. Hitting a healing bubble increases its size when it bursts. Okay, he's not really going to be using that all that much. Maybe he uses that on the boss. When a healing bubble bursts, it leaves behind a damaging water zone. Wonder how long that zone lasts, because potentially that might have been why he was popping a bubble at the beginning of the round. It's just that way if anyone gets too close. Okay, so purples, he does still have the 3 moon power they started with. He's now up to 14 on the purple damage. Convert damage dealt into self-healing. They are getting a little bit of self-healing, which is interesting. Because on Blade, you don't have to do self-healing. He has it built in. A little bit of health, a little bit more purple damage. And they did get 1 purple freeze. Keep an eye on that. The longer this has been out, the more people have been finding like 1 Ankh on Blade or 1 Moon, the Moon Knight Hand of Khonshu is valuable. Just finding what blessings are min-max at just 1 purchase. And then damage received wise, we're at negative 50 or 17.5 and negative. So they're at about, what is that? 32.5 damage reduction. Not too shabby. 32 is really good because going, like I said, on Blade, normally I was shooting for about 35 to 40 by the time I get to the final Wanda. But Jeff does have a lot less health than Blade, so they might have to have, on Jeff, you might have to prio the damage reduction a little bit more than health, since you're starting out so much lower of a health roll. Wow. The damage is, the boss, I stand corrected. The boss damage is insane. Did you see that bubble break? And then Jeff might be the best character to clear zombies with now. This is actually insane. Like, look at this. The wave clear is insane, but not only that, just the boss damage is nuts. Wow. That is crazy. That was a 1 minute Wanda round, a sub 1 minute Wanda round. Yeah, I genuinely, I think if someone took what is seen in this video and implemented a faster buy round, Jeff could easily set the world record for all characters. Also, something I'm noticing, and this isn't me critiquing them because they're a bad player or anything like that, just kind of seeing how we can improve and learn from them. Their camera movements could be a little bit faster. Since Jeff has such good range, just a little bit more activity, because these zombies shouldn't even be getting close to them. So faster camera movements could definitely up this time a little bit. It's interesting that not a single blue has been used. Because I know with Blade at the very beginning, everyone avoided blue completely other than the Ankh. And then slowly, now it seems like the world records on Blade are starting to implement the Moon Blade a little bit more. Wonder if it will come out that one of the Jeff blues is decent. Okay, so they are kind of, see how he's popping he's doing a little bubble every now and then.
Impressive. But can you repeat your success?
The wave clear, everything is looking just, that's crazy. The wave clear is so good. I was worried the boss damage was gonna be kind of lacking, but so far, then the Namor round was pretty good. I assumed he was gonna be good for Namor because that range on the squids, but the Wanda, I mean, he popped a sub 1 minute Wanda clear. Really impressive. And I feel like Jeff's gonna be insane for the double Wanda because of the range. You're always gonna be able to hit both at the exact same time. I'm really excited to see the Wave 15 as well. Going for the because I think Jeff outplays Blade in 15 because of, one, you have that really good range for the squids, but you also don't accidentally proc the Namor bug because he has so much smaller of a primary fire hitbox. So you're not accidentally hitting that that Namor. If you guys didn't know, you didn't see my last breakdown or my own runs, the Namor bug is procced because Blade's hitbox on his spin and his primary is so big that it was accidentally hitting Namor in the air. It would proc his shield, and when you accidentally proc his shield, it would make it to where the little bubbles didn't do damage. But with Jeff, you don't have to worry about that. Another thing, I had mentioned that their buy phase is a little bit slower. We also need to keep in mind they're getting 30% extra moon power every buy because of those moon powers that they got at the beginning. So that's the downside of moon power. I think moon power is really, really good early on. You get a lot of value out of it, but it does slow down your buy phases. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I do think it's worth it any time that you can get it. Once they're done buying, we'll do a spot check of where they're at, time, health, and card-wise. All right, looks like we're going in. So 12.5 minutes is when they're getting to round 15 Namor and Wanda. Health-wise, we are sitting at 5,700. Card-wise, they're now up to 36 on the DOT, still the core of the build, 17 on the legendary damage. Let's see if there's anything else specific they've added. The capacities, they only have one of that one. It seems like, yeah, fire. Anytime they get fire rate, they've been buying it. Splash damage, they've been getting splash damage, yeah. So nothing too crazy there. They're still skipping out on the blues completely. Still the 3 moon power from before, up to 16 on the power surge. Purple, or is that's a gold, the legendary. Okay, so they've only done 2 of the self-healing. That's good. I think they're just doing that for safety, just to be safe, because Blade had the built-in, Jeff doesn't. Max health, they've bought in a few. Damage received at 30%, and they're at 52.5% damage reduction. All of these are well and dandy, but I think the most important thing to look at is, 52.5% damage reduction. Going into that final Wanda, they're probably going to get even more. Maybe like, I think if you get up to 60%, someone said you can't get one shot, regardless of health. I can't remember what someone said. I think it was around 6,000 health. They do have the 1 freeze, and then they had... Okay, no, I'm just kidding. It was just a freeze. Okay, so yeah, they just have that 1 freeze. They're min-maxing it at that 1, or they accidentally bought it. So far, seems like a pretty simple build, though. Okay, now who do they prioritize? Are they going to go for Wanda or Squids? Their damage is so good that they can kind of just flick the Squids. So it seems like Prio Wanda, which makes sense because Jeff does have kind of a lower health build. So prioritizing Wanda, hitting Squids whenever they can. I'm interested to see how this round goes, because with the Blade World Record, the goal was ignore Wanda as much as you can and prio Squids completely, to where Namor comes down right as you get Wanda in the final phase. So I'm interested to see the discrepancy of when does he get Namor down compared to Wanda in the final. He already has Wanda in the final. That is absolutely he's ignoring Squids. Okay, hear me out. I feel like this score could be increased a lot if he would have just ignored Wanda and gone for Squids. Like, he's gone for Squids occasionally, but the fact that there's no Namor bug with Jeff. So right here, we're at 13 minutes and 40 seconds. Let's see how long it takes for him to get Namor down afterwards. And then on paper, that's how much they could have probably shortened down this run if they, because Namor comes down right where the Wanda final form stands. So if you get them down around the same time, you actually damage both at the same time. So killing Wanda first is actually kind of a waste. Pretty active with the bubble usage on this round for that, I'm guessing, the movement speed boost. Yeah, just look at this. How much time did we say started Namor? It was like about 13.5 minutes. This is just, this really is like easy mode. Playing this on Blade, you have to be so careful and like trigger discipline to not accidentally proc the bug. But with Jeff, it's just easy mode. You're just vibing. Do a bubble every now and then for speed boost. Keep rolling around. Now, how is he not getting hit by the The CC. Is the bubble keeping him from getting CC'd? If someone in the comments wants to update me on that. Like I said, I don't know a lot about Jeff's kit. But normally Namor traps you in that bubble, right? That's unfortunate. That's first death, though. Wonder if it has to be the bubble. It has to be something within the... Oh, there's probably a perk that makes Jeff unCCable when he uses bubble. Because he's pretty active with his bubble usage. That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's pretty consistent with that bubble usage. Alright, Namor is about to come down. We'll pause when he does. Right here. So I think it was about 13:30, 13:40 that Wanda was killed. That was a 2-minute Namor run. So, I mean, obviously I'm not going to say the full 2 minutes, but if they would have prioritized just ignore Wanda the best that you can, like tickle her a little bit, but they killed Wanda so fast. If they would have just prioritized squids and ignored Wanda and then killed Namor and the Wanda at the same time, that's easily 30-second, a minute, maybe a minute and a half cut off of this entire run, which then puts it in contention for challenging Blade for the world record across all characters. Okay, so this is smart. He's playing outside of the range of the whales. One thing could be doing better is, yeah, you want to kill these squids. Nice job on the flicks on squids. But you see these little lazy moments, like you should be constantly trying to hit Namor and squids. So just doing a full circle around him, because these little squids continue to do. He sounds like a squeaky toy. Killing those squids is just free damage, right? It continues to do damage to Namor even after you brought him down. Okay, what's his safe spot now? He's going to have to be very active with camera movements because the spawns are all over. So we're going to pay attention to the positioning, the camera movements. If they use bubbles, so far they're not really using any bubbles. The camera movements are much better now. The camera movements earlier felt a little bit lazy, but right now they're actually really, really solid. This is where understanding that the spawns come in handy. Nice little clear. Not bad, not bad. Interesting. So wonder what the point of the one freeze is. Is it kind of like the Ankh for a Blade, where just kind of that one purchase adds in a nice, because the freeze one is what? It occasionally freezes a zombie, which then makes them explode. I'm guessing, my guess is they accidentally bought one, but it's possible that it's an important part of the run. But the thing about that freeze is it doesn't really scale all that well, because it just says a set amount of exploding damage. I guess the freeze aspect could be valuable, but they're wave clearing so quickly. That's the only reason I was questioning if it was valuable at all. I feel like the freeze, maybe the key is the freeze is important early game, because the wave clear isn't as insane at first. So maybe you just get the freeze early on to help with the initial wave clear, and then late game it just kind of tapers off is kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, because these waves are just melted instantly. Yeah, at the very beginning, I was really concerned about boss damage and the elite damage on the elites. But it's a non-factor now. He's killing faster than he's killing the elites faster than Blade can, and doing it from max distance. This is nuts. This actually makes me really excited to try some Jeff runs on stream this week. Now, if you haven't beaten Nightmare 4 yet, and you're looking for your first solo clear, or clearing it with some friends, first of all, I definitely recommend doing a duo or solo if you've never beaten it before. It is a lot easier. The zombies still do as much damage, but there's less zombies, and you don't really have someone stepping on your toes, so you have a little bit more control over your run. And then you can always run with friends later, but if your goal is to get the titles, solo is definitely more manageable. It is a lot of stress, since you have no one else helping, but you also, it's nice because you can't blame anyone else for your own mistakes. It's all on you. Good camera movement, good uptime. I do like how they're flicking up with the beam. They're not being lazy and just shooting the ones on the ground. That's something we saw with that Blade World record, is Silent was really good about jumping while they're spinning to kill the people on the balcony, and Jeff just does that so much better. All right, we're on the final buy phase. We'll kind of keep an eye on what's going on these purchases, but so far it seems pretty consistent. They're not using their ultimate at all. They don't use their invulnerability. I'm guessing, yeah, it had to have been one of Jeff's perks that was making him CC immune after the bubbles. Because going into this, I was like, oh man, Jeff's probably gonna have to like dig underground anytime Namor is about to CC him, but didn't have to do that. The bubbles kind of bypassed that. All right, let's keep an eye on buy. This was a very fast buy phase. So they were able in the buy phase in right about a minute, but they also had that 30% moon power. So 30% moon power makes the buy phases longer. That was a really fast clear on the buy phase. They're going into Wanda at 20 minutes and 24 seconds. This is the final build that they had. 39 of the legendary damage. They got really lucky. They almost caught up. They're up to 25 on the splash damage. And then just some buys here and there. It really feels like they did not buy the cheaper versions of any of these. I don't know if that was just dumb luck. It was most likely a priority on their part of, I mentioned this in a video before, but the golds are so much more valuable than the whites, the blues. The purples are pretty good, but the golds you get so much more value out of. And that's what we're seeing here. They bought 11 of this one and 13 of this one, but priority on the big dogs, the big two. Still no blue. And then looking at this, they still had the 30% on moon. They never got any more of the 35s. I'm not sure if that's because they got unlucky or it was more on the side of prioritizing the reds, which would make a lot of sense too. They did get one more self-healing. Health-wise, what are they at? 7,700 health. So they did beef up on health since round 15. And most importantly, damage reduction, 45%. Plus 20. Oh my god, they had 70% damage reduction. That is impressive. That's crazy. And they didn't buy any of the they only got one of the 2.5% damage and one of this. They really ignored everything beyond the golds and purples. The only purples they really got were damage reduction and max health. Outside of that, everything across both purple and red, prioritization was really on those golds. All right, let's see how this Wanda run goes. So their prioritization is going to be hitting. They're not hitting both Wandas at the same time at the start. They do it here. They're doing those circle strafes, the side-to-side strafes, to avoid getting one shot by the strange team up. Very smart. And obviously this is being picky, but min-max wise, there has been probably 10 to 15% of the time that they're only shooting one Wanda. They get lucky, both Wandas line up on each other right there. That's huge. Yep, make sure we're clearing wall. Okay, they're not doing circle strafes. They just kind of jump during this phase, which that makes sense too, because the projectile jumping up and down while moving kind of makes it harder for all the projectiles to hit you at the same time. They're getting really lucky with these lineups. The Wandas keep spawning on top of each other. That's crazy. That is a 1 minute. Yeah, right about a 1 minute Wanda clear, which my best Wanda double Wanda clear on Blade was like 1.5 minutes. So not only does Jeff have insane wave clear potential at the very beginning, end game actually has almost better, if not better, boss clear than Blade does. Good skin choice, by the way. So takeaways from this. Jeff definitely seems like the new king of getting solo clear if you've never done it before. They really ignored everything besides the gold and purples. They didn't do a random buy I just thought about this. Yeah, they didn't random buy on the round 20 buy. So a lot of blades will completely random buy during this round to cut off a decent amount of time, which yeah, they didn't. They manually bought every single round. So this potentially could be a spot where they cut off a little bit more time. Honestly, they had a really good buy considering they started with like 200 moon power. But if anyone's trying to break the world record, that is something that they could try. As for other things, faster buys in the beginning, potentially on the round 15, they could have focused on killing the squids because they killed Wanda so fast, right? If they would just been doing squids from the beginning, that's the real cap on the round 15. But overall, insane run, and this completely changes the way that I view Jeff in zombies. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Like I said, I'm gonna take what I learned and implement that this week on stream, go for a top 500 score myself on Jeff. And if you guys are enjoying the spectating series, maybe we start breaking down some gameplay from competitive matches on the top players, or do more of the characters on zombies. Sounds like the devs are intending to put more and more resources into the PvE since there's been such a good feedback from the community. So the more videos that I put out, the more love you guys show these videos and videos from other creators. We keep this PvE train moving, and I can't wait to see the future of it. If you guys enjoyed the breakdown, you saw anything that I missed, make sure you comment it down below, drop a like, all that kind of stuff, and I'll see you next time. Peace.